A very good morning to you. Welcome back. Still to come on today's show at 8:30. We've got today's sporting headlines. Plus, we'll be talking tattoos with Dr. Kiran Patel.
But first, our next guest is the vocal coach behind former X Factor finalist Austin Drage, is it?
Drage.
Drage.
There you go, he's in the corner. Itching to get on.
Now, he believes that he can teach anyone to sing to a great standard. Not only that, he reckons he's got a quick fix formula.
Oh, yes, and he's here, as we've just seen. Then see if he can work on magic on us, and who knows, maybe we could be the next big band, maybe. We could form a duo to make it on X Factor, maybe not. Welcome, singing coach David Gregory. Good morning.
Good morning, hello.
Right then, sir, can you really teach anybody to sing?
Yes.
Really?
I've yet to meet someone that I can't teach.
What about people who are tone deaf?
There's no such thing as tone deaf. It's down to what I call active listening. You've just got to basically get people who are supposedly tone deaf to be able to reproduce pitch, and it's just teaching them how to hear. Because believe it or not, quite a lot of people don't know how to listen properly.
Ah, right, so it's more about hearing than actually kind of expelling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
absolutely.
okay, that's
Because if they don't know how to hear correctly and they're not hearing the note correctly, then they're not going to reproduce it correctly. So you've got to, as I say, teach them how to hear.
So you taught Austin on the X Factor. So I thought you were a vocal coach. I'm teasing.
How was Austin when he first came to you, though? Did he need a lot of work? Is he one of those cases where perhaps he came in, was tone deaf, and you kind of turned it around?
Well, no, the most work he needed was quietening down because, how can I describe him, really? He was just like a whirlwind all the time. This is a little boy at 12 years old that just was always wanting to be the centre of attention all the time. And whenever I try and do anything in class, you know, we could always hear his voice over and above everybody else's, and then he found out how loud my voice was, and it kind of shut him up a bit.
Well, we've got someone just like that on the studio floor. Her name is Michelle, and we thought we'd test, put your abilities, your skills to the test, because they really will be tested.
Okay.
We've got Michelle, come and join us on the couch. And, well, we thought we'd give you an example of the dulcet tones of Mrs. Eagerton on this morning's show. And hopefully we'll be able to hear some music on the studio floor very shortly. Here we go.
I've got a cold.
Oh, excuse me.
No disclaimers, Michelle.
Are you ready?
Right, this is a personal favourite of mine. I love Byron Manilow, so
don't kill it.
okay, I'll try. Sorry, guys at home.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Her name was Lola. She was a showgirl with yellow feathers in her hair and a dress cut down to there. She would merengue and do the cha-cha. And well, a Tony-handed bar, she would come across the bar.
There you go.
Right, if you don't mind, Michelle, you've got traffic and travel shortly. If you mind, just get back over there.
I closed my ears before we
You have got some work to do.
that.
Right, well, it's actually not that difficult. The first things first is that's far too low for her, the backing. It needs to go up quite a bit because she's actually singing that in Barry Manilow's key. And, you know, male voices are very different from female voices. And when a girl tries to sing a boy's song, it doesn't translate very well for a number of reasons.
Hey, we should be thankful she's not singing through Barry Manilow's nose, eh?
Now. Just before we go over to Michelle, when you say you can teach anybody to sing, do you mean you can teach them to hold a tune, or are we talking like Mariah Carey type
We're talking
singing?
about proper singing. I mean,
Wow.
I use a mixture of techniques drawn from all sorts of different areas. The big ones, I think, are psychological retraining. We had a good example here. Oh, I've got a cold, so I'm setting myself up to fail, that kind of thing. And then the next thing is distraction techniques, because you get so many people that will be listening to themselves while they're singing, and which is well, you don't listen to yourselves while you're presenting the programme, do you? You know, you just present the programme, and obviously I've got to get them to just sing and not listen to themselves and actually perform. So I do a number of distraction techniques, and then finally taking top tips from all the more conventional schools of thought, really, and giving them those as well, just to sort of like put the final polish on.
Going slightly off track, why is it that I sound amazing in the shower and whilst driving to work, but not in real life? And most people, I think, will probably buy into that theory. It's true, though, isn't it? Especially when you're in the shower or you're driving along. I believe I am Mariah Carey.
Okay, well, again, that's a simple sort of like question to answer. When you're in the shower, of course, you're on your own, aren't you? And you've got really good acoustics, so you'll just let rip. But then, of course, when you come out into what you said is the real world, well, I don't think you get any more real than a shower, really.
Well, David, we're going to put your skills to the test as well.
Okay.
We're going to give you our guinea pig, Michelle Eagerton. But before we do, she's got a job to do. She's got to give you the latest traffic and travel report, what's going on the roads.
Good Good morning. Now, earlier this morning, we challenged singing coach David Gregory to work his magic on our Michelle Eagerton. They've had only 20 minutes to work on a technique, so let's see if it's made a difference a little bit later. Before we do, we want to have a final chat with David.
David, what did you do to Michelle? Because you said you've got a bit of a quick fix.
Well, basically, the main thing that was wrong with that track was it was too low for her, so we got rid of the track. And the next thing was that she kind of needed to loosen up, but also use the words, because with Copacabana, you're telling a story. And she wasn't telling a story at all. It was kind of like her voice was left in the studio and she'd gone outside to, I don't know, get a kebab or something.
Well, David, we showed your website up on screen there, so people who perhaps want to contact you, because we know you've trained X Factor contestants, you've been involved in lots, because you've got this formula off a lady who was working with Carmen McIntosh, is that right?
Well, yeah, I've been taught by some of the best singing teachers in the business, but one in particular is a lady called Mary Hammond. She's been on TV on quite a few things, but yeah, she works for Cameron McIntosh. She teaches musical theatre at Royal Academy of Music, all sorts of things. Just an amazing lady, and she's far more scary than Simon Cowell ever could be. She makes him look like Mother Teresa.
Really?
Yeah, she's that scary.
Probably never want to meet her then. Going back to, you've only had 15 minutes with Michelle. We were a little bit sceptical perhaps whether you could, not that she was terrible before, but as to whether you could transform her. She wasn't. She could hold a tune. How do you go about doing it then? Is it when you see like behind the scenes on singing shows, there's sort of there's all these strange magical mouth movements. Is that what you've done with Michelle?
No, I haven't done that, because a lot of that sort of stuff is very artificial. You've got to deal with the person, you've got to deal with the emotions, because at the end of the day, everything we do is controlled by our emotions, you know, and everything that comes from that are just symptoms of it. So
it's more psychosomatic than physical?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And very, very psychological as well, because a lot of things you've got to break down, you know, especially the old stiff upper lip that, you know, the British are quite famous for, really, which just gets in the way, really, and stops people from being what they really want to be, because they're too self-conscious. So you just got to get rid of all of that and get them to lose their inhibitions.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to offer a competition, aren't we?
Yes.
For people to actually get involved and actually learn from the great man, Mr. David Gregory here.
The great man that is David. Yes, he's offering one lucky viewer the chance to win a course of singing lessons, and we'd like you to email us with the reason why you think you deserve this tuition. breakfast@channelm.co.uk. And just be warned, we might be asking for you to sing on the show next week sometime, but it's a fantastic prize. Is there anybody who would be an ideal candidate? Are you looking really for someone to make your job easy, somebody who can already hold a tune, or are you open to any challenge?
I'm open to any challenge whatsoever.
Are these lessons expensive? Is this a pricey do normally?
Yes, it is. A lot of really good singing teachers will charge anything upwards from £75 an hour, which is quite a lot of money, and certainly, you know, with the credit crunch, it's quite beyond a lot of people's reach, really. So.
Well, as we said, we do have this competition where if you do want to get involved, the email breakfast@channelm.co.uk, that's on your screen now. Please don't hesitate to do so. Tell us why you think you deserve these lessons. We may be ringing you for a bit of a rendition. That's it for this morning's programme. Join us again on tomorrow's breakfast shows, Friday at the Flicks. There's all sorts of stuff coming up.
It is. Friday's always a fun day, so definitely tune into that 6 till 9. But before we go, to demonstrate David's fantastical work, we're going to leave you with the wonderful Michelle Eagerton playing out with Lola.
His name was Rico, he wore a diamond. He was escorted to his chair. He saw Lola dancing there, and when she finished, he called her over. But Rico went a bit too far, and Tony fell across the bar. And then the punches flew, and chairs were smashed in two. There was blood and a single gunshot, but just who shot who? And the Copacabana